sweet, familiar smell of tarred ropes and the sea. "I say," said Quentin to himself, "here's a rum go." He had learned that expression in a school in Salisbury, a long time ago, as it seemed. The stone on which he lay dipped and rose to a rhythm which he knew well enough. He had felt it when he and his mother went in a little boat from Keyhaven to Alum Bay in the Isle of Wight. There was no doubt in his mind he was on a ship. But how? But why? Who could have carried him all that way without waking him? Was it magic? Accidental magic? The St. John's wort, perhaps? And the stone, it was not the same. It was new, clean cut, and, where the wind displaced a corner of the curtain, dazzlingly white in the sunlight. There was the pat-pat of bare feet on the deck, a dull sort of shuffling, as though people were arranging themselves. And then people outside the awning began to sing. It was a strange song, not at all like any music you or I have ever heard. It had no tune, no more tune than a drum has, or a trumpet, but it had a sort of wild, rough, glorious, exciting splendour about it, and gave you the sort of intense, all-alive feeling that drums and trumpets give. Quentin lifted a corner of the purple curtain and looked out. Instantly the song stopped, drowned in the deepest silence Quentin had ever imagined. It was only broken by the flip-flapping of the sheets against the masts of the ship. For it was a ship. Quentin saw that as the bulwark dipped to show him an unending waste of sea, broken by bigger waves than he had ever dreamed of. He saw also a crowd of men, dressed in white and blue and purple and gold. Their right arms were raised towards the sun, half of whose face showed across the sea, but they seemed to be, as my old nurse used to say, struck so, for their eyes were not fixed on the sun, but on Quentin, and not in anger, he noticed curiously, but with surprise, and could it be that they were afraid of him? Quentin was shivering with the surprise and newness of it all. He had read about magic, but he had not wholly believed in it, and yet now, if this was not magic, what was it? You go to sleep on an old stone in a ruin. You wake on the same stone, quite new, on a ship. Magic, magic, if ever there was magic in this wonderful, mysterious world. The silence became awkward. Some one had to say something. "Good morning," said Quentin, feeling that he ought perhaps to be the one. Instantly every one in sight fell on his face on the deck. Only one, a tall man with a black beard and a blue mantle, stood up and looked Quentin in the eyes. "Who are you?" he said. "Answer, I adjure you by the sacred Tau." Now this was very odd, and Quentin could never understand it, but when this man spoke, Quentin understood him perfectly, and yet at the same time he knew that the man was speaking a foreign language, so that his thought was not, "Hello, you speak English," but, "Hello, I can understand your language." "I am Quentin de Ward," he said. "A name from other stars. How came you here?" asked the blue-mantled man. "I don't know," said Quentin. "He does not know. He did not sail with us. It is by magic that he is here," said Blue Mantle. "Rise all and greet the chosen of the gods." They rose from the deck, and Quentin saw that they were all bearded men with bright, earnest eyes, dressed in strange dress of something like jersey and tunic and heavy golden ornaments. "Hail, chosen of the gods!" cried Blue Mantle, who seemed to be the leader. "Hail, chosen of the gods!" echoed the rest. "Thank you very much, I'm sure," said Quentin. "And what is this stone?" asked Blue Mantle, pointing to the stone on which Quentin sat. And Quentin, anxious to show off his knowledge, said, "I'm not quite sure, but I think it's the altar stone of Stonehenge." "It is proved," said Blue Mantle. "Thou art the chosen of the gods. Is there anything my lord needs?" he added humbly. I'm rather hungry," said Quentin. "It's a long time since dinner, you know." They brought him bread and bananas and oranges. "Take," said Blue Mantle, "of the fruits of the earth, and specially of this, which gives drink and meat and ointment to man," suddenly offering a large cocoa nut. Quentin took, with appropriate thank yous and you're very kinds. "Nothing," said Blue Mantle, "is too good for the chosen of the gods. All that we have is yours, to the very last day of your life. You have only to command, and we obey. You will like to eat in seclusion, and afterwards you will let us behold the whole person of the chosen of the gods." Quentin retired into the purple tent with the fruits and the cocoa nut. As you know, a cocoa nut is not handy to get at the inside of at the best of times, so Quentin set that aside, meaning to ask Blue Mantle later on for a gimlet and a hammer. When he had had enough to eat, he peeped out again. Blue Mantle was on the watch, and came quickly forward. "Now," said he, very crossly indeed, "tell me how you got here. This chosen of the gods business is all very well for the vulgar, but you and I know that there is no such thing as magic." "Speak for yourself," said Quentin. "If I'm not here by magic, I'm not here at all." "Yes, you are," said Blue Mantle. "I know I am," said Quentin. "But if I'm not here by magic, what am I here by?" "Stowawayishness," said Blue Mantle. "If you think that, why don't you treat me as a stowaway?" "Because of public opinion," said Blue Mantle, rubbing his nose in an angry sort of perplexedness. "Very well," said Quentin, who was feeling so surprised and bewildered that it was a real relief to him to bully somebody. "Now look here. I came here by magic, accidental magic. I belong to quite a different world from yours. But perhaps you are right about my being the chosen of the gods. And I shan't tell you anything about my world, but I command you, by the sacred Tau," he had been quick enough to catch and remember the word, "to tell me who you are, and where you come from, and where you are going." Blue Mantle shrugged his shoulders. "Oh, well," he said, "if you invoke the sacred names of power, but I don't call it fair play, especially as you know perfectly well, and just want to browbeat me into telling lies. I shall not tell lies. I shall tell you the truth." "I hoped you would," said Quentin gently. "Well then," said Blue Mantle, "I am a priest of Poseidon, and I come from the great and immortal kingdom of Atlantis." "From the temple where the gold statue is, with the 12 sea horses in gold?" Quentin asked eagerly. "Ah, I knew you knew all about it," said Blue Mantle, "so I don't need to tell you that I am taking the sacred stone on which you are sitting,
profanely if you are a mere stowaway and not the chosen